The epic 8-game homestand concludes with the boys from the Big Smoke and the circus they bring with them. We get you set for the Oilers and the Maple Leafs on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a nice one. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Shawn, Belle, and Benny Thomson here on EST as we get you ready for what should be an exciting night down at Rogers Place. The Olympics right around the corner, but we have a couple of Oiler games to get to. First, it is the last home game prior to the Olympics for the Orange and Blue. They will be in Calgary tomorrow night, and tonight it will be those Maple Leafs in town. The Oilers 28-20-8, Toronto 26-21-9. It is game number 57 on the schedule. Of course, the pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Join the conversation. Hit us up on the text line, 780-218-9999, or hop into the nasty chat as one does over on YouTube. From a Maple Leafs perspective, we will be joined by Ryan Leslie, formerly of Sportsnet down in Calgary. Ryan moved over to do Leafs coverage this year, and he'll bring us some insight and analysis to this one in regard to those Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, Bellsy, you good to go? He thinks he is. All right. Are we good to go, Benny? Let's bring in Bellsy. He's in the satellite studios. Hi, Bellsy. How are you? Are we hearing him?
I can't hear him through the...
I can't hear you, Bellsy. Figure out your microphone situation. Hi, Benny. How are you?
I'm great. Just got some clips done. It's been a long day at the office. I've been here since the hangout, so we've had some fun around the office, and I'm excited for what should be an entertaining game today between two teams that cause a lot of media and a lot of circus around them. So I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, that circus was not at the rink this morning. Everybody was still in bed after yesterday's win in Calgary for the Maple Leafs. Benny, let's try him again. Bellsy, hello. No.
This guy, man.
This guy. This isn't your first rodeo. Oh, my goodness. Benny, throw out the question of the night as we get Bellsy sorted out here. Unbelievable.
Okay, so I'm going to label this as one. I think Leafs are going to be sellers. I think we can talk. I think that's where we're at now.
Okay.
With the Toronto Maple Leafs. Are you for Bobby McMahon being a target for the Edmonton Oilers? Let us know. He's on the thumbnail today. So
sure. 780-218-9999. Hello, Bellsy. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Hello, Shawn.
It's nice to be here, guys. Thank you for having me. It's so I feel like very good about being here.
Nice. Good.
Now, to answer the question, Benny, is yes, Bobby McMahon is a guy that the Oilers should target for sure. He's big, he's got speed, he plays a hard game, he can be in your middle six, so whether that is in your top six, whether that is on your third line, I think he has the ability to play elevated minutes if he needs to, and he's the type of guy that I believe he's got 17 goals already.
Yeah. I think 18.
That would be that secondary. Yeah, 18 last night. So that's that secondary scoring. And the best part about it is his cap hit is very nice. It's very gentle. And then you go in and you try to sign him to an extension. I think he's the type of player that the Oilers should want, covet, and need.
I have one slight, I have one worry. Is that he can't play center. So to me, the biggest hole the Oilers have on the forward core is 3C.
The biggest hole that these guys have, Benny, is the fact that they don't have secondary scoring. And if it's not the big boys pulling everybody, then what do they have? So if you got a guy that can't play center, but he's going to provide you with some extra, scoring, like here's a hypothetical situation. And I apologize for cutting you off on this one, but to me, it's like, hey, if he's got 18 goals right now, could he ride shotgun to one of the big boys? Could that supplant maybe, or put in a situation where maybe you try having Nugent Hopkins on the third line, and McMahon would play up on the top line with Hyman, and you have two guys that have similar games in Hyman and McMahon. I mean, for Hyman, it's done wonders having a McDavid. For McDavid, hey, having a Hyman's a big deal. And so then now you have some roster flexibility. So to me, when I look at McMahon's game, I don't go, hey, you can't play center. I see a useful player, a guy that essentially has some of the elements that the Oilers would want. I want to go out and get that player.
It's fair. I think there's one, I don't think they want to put Nuge at 3C. And if to me, if I had to rank guys that I would want the Oilers to go grab, McMahon isn't number one. I think he is I have Ryan O'Reilly and Boone Jenner over McMahon. If you can't get one of those guys, okay, maybe you make do with Bobby McMahon. But to me, I would have Ryan O'Reilly, in terms of forward assets that you're willing to go get, I would have Ryan O'Reilly and Boone Jenner over. And I know you love the Boone Jenner talk.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I've been saying Boone Jenner for a long time. And so, yeah, do I think the Oilers would want a Boone Jenner? Yeah, I do. But at the same time, like, his cap hit's probably a little bit higher than McMahon's. And when you're a team that is, starving for cap space, and you have a player like McMahon sitting there, you have to maybe really take a look at that, because that would be an important piece given his cap space or his cap hit. Because I think it's only like, 1.6 or something like that?
I think it's less. It's less than that.
It might be less than that. You're right.
That's enticing.
Yeah.
That's very enticing. I like it. I mean, if he enhances the bottom six, and you could even slide him up and have him in the middle six and have him moonlight there, great. I appreciate his work ethic from what I've seen of Bobby McMahon. I appreciate his hustle. I like the type of goals that he scores, you guys. If the Leafs would be willing to part ways with him and the Oilers feel like he would bolster their forward unit, I'm all for it, because I think, like you said, when it comes to the forwards, the bottom six is a bit of an issue, and a bit is kind of an understatement. So yes, if you can make it happen, dollars and cents wise, absolutely. And if it allows you to also go and make a move and bolster your back end in terms of maintaining some cap flexibility, 100%. Go make it happen, because
he's at 1.35 FYI.
That's very friendly.
That is.
I think that's how I would describe that. What say you? 780-218-9999 as we get you set for the Oilers and the Leafs. This one, it comes in. A grumpy cat. I'll read that in a second. The Oilers don't have a lot of size and toughness. Ryan from Sask says he brings some of that. Also, with the low cap hit, that allows them to find a D-man as well. Issue will be assets. What is it going to cost? Good point, Ryan from Sask. I'm completely in lockstep with you. Ryan from Sask says, Tom, maybe your clothing guys can hook Nylander up with a shirt that has sleeves. Yes, I think Jared and Richie over at Modern Measure would be happy to provide William Nylander with some clothing. I saw him briefly today, you guys, in the pedway walking from the hotel to the rink. I was going rink to hotel. Full velour sweatsuit. I can't confirm it was velour, but it was a sweatsuit. He had the hoodie pulled, and there were some kids with their mom who were Leafs fans that stopped him, and he did stop to sign some autographs, take a photo, which I appreciate. So, it was a full sweatsuit for Nylander today, heading to the rink, probably to get some treatment or whatever, because they didn't really take to the ice this afternoon and late in the morning. All right, 780-218-9999. Let's see what else we got.
Tommy, just quickly, to finish up that McMahon conversation. So I don't know if you saw Steve Dangle put a hypothetical trade out there, and I'd love to hear your guys' thought on it. And it was to Edmonton, Bobby McMahon, to Toronto, Mangiapane, a 2026 second rounder, a 2027 second rounder, a 2028 third rounder, worst of Edmonton or St. Louis, and a 2026 sixth rounder to Edmonton.
For Bobby McMahon?
That's
kind of what I thought.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
I know Steve Dangle's a Leafs fan, but man,
that's an expensive trade, is it not?
We see some pie in the sky ideas from oil country, but that's in La La Land, baby.
I saw the replies to that, and his reply, like, so someone's like, that is a ridiculous overpay for the Oilers, and he was saying that the Oilers are going to have to pay to get rid of Mangiapane. So that, in that sense, you are paying to get rid of Mangiapane on top of the assets you're going to have to give up for McMahon. That was his reasoning. I still think
that's a lot of assets, though. Like, that's a ton of draft picks.
If that's the asking price for McMahon, walk away, Edmonton. Walk away.
Why do you have to pay to get rid of him?
Yeah, that too. Like, I feel like a team would want to take a chance on him. No.
Yeah. Look at Victor Arvidsson.
Yeah.
Look at Victor Arvidsson.
Like, why not? To me, I don't understand having to pay that, at least that much. Maybe if a team is asking for a 5th round pick or something for Mangiapane, sure, whatever. But yeah, if you're having to give up a 2nd round pick for Mangiapane, yeah, no.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll pass on that offer if it ever came my way. I'll tell you what. Let's go to Robert's son. I see what you did there. Robertson says Bobby McMahon is doing great in Toronto. But he is getting a chance to play every night, regular minutes. In Edmonton, depth guys don't get power play time, and their ice time is lower. Henrique had over 50 points with the Ducks. Came here, can't get 35. If he doesn't fit with the top 6, I can't see him as an impactful as a defensive center who kills penalties. That's from Robert's son. Guy Flaming, what up, Guy? Says the way Belsey describes Bobby McMahon, he sounds like the guys Edmonton thought Trent Frederick was going to be. Guy Flaming signing that text with huge as. Guy, thank God we have your name saved in the databases, Guy Flaming, or huge as in this scenario.
Kidding.
My goodness. All right. Do you have a response to huge as, aka Guy?
I think that McMahon plays with more speed than Frederick. I think that he has a better scoring touch around the net for sure. I do think that's what Oilers management probably thought they were getting in Frederick. But at the same time, like, this is a guy that plays with a ton of speed, and that's what you want. It's something that we've seen over the course of the last couple of years where, you know, guys that have left the team are guys that actually have a ton of speed. And now the team that you look at, there's some elements where, yes, they have some speed, but are they as fast as they used to be? I don't know. But I would like to get a guy that's under 30 into the lineup. I'd like to have a guy that can fly, and I'd like to have a guy that has a little bit of sandpaper. And I think he'd be a really good fit.
With Bobby McMahon, the thing we've talked about all year with the depth scoring for the Oilers is any guy they bring in, don't expect power play time. You're not going to get it.
No,
there's a 5-man unit the Oilers have, and they're going to run them to the ground. And go ahead.
Speaking of that, I was listening to the afternoon shows, and I can't think it was Hernan or maybe it was Reed, but they were saying, people were complaining about the fact that the Oilers don't have a power play too. And I was like, yeah, that's right. They don't have a power play too. So, and they haven't really for a few years. And then I go, wait a second, isn't power play 1 the top power play in the league?
That's my biggest argument back to
Isn't it historic levels?
I don't understand.
They were a couple years ago.
I don't understand the argument for people being like, oh, they need a power play too. No, they don't. They have the best power play in the NHL for the past however many years, and a historic one a couple years ago. Run them. Like, who cares? If they're going to get you that many goals, go do it.
I got into that mental loop where I'm like, yeah, that's right. They don't have power play too. They're like, power play 1 is like top in the league.
Yeah. And then so for McMahon, I'm looking at his
now points. Here's the devil's advocate.
Okay, yeah, you can go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish.
Okay. McMahon.
Go finish.
4 points on the power play out of 31 and only 2 goals. So out of his 18 goals this year, 2 of them on a power play. So that's pretty damn good for a 5-on-5 goal scorer. Mm-hmm. So it should translate. Coming from Toronto to Edmonton if he were to.
Yeah, the only devil's advocate that I'd play with the only having 1 unit is that then you can't complain about secondary scoring, because how do guys get that confidence to put up points? And if you're a guy like for example, Roslovic, but hey, the Oilers have historically not been great 5-on-5. They've been predominantly a team that goes on the power play and then lights it up. So if you look at a guy like Roslovic, who is a streaky scorer, well, if he needs those opportunities on the power play to kind of get him going and become streaky again, well, if you're not getting any time, then you're not going to find ways to get that confidence, and your game kind of goes in a tailspin, because we all know it's about confidence as much as it is about ability. So that's my only 2 cents on it. But I mean, hey, you have the best power play in the world. It's hard to argue, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, we could go on for days. We need to get to some business here as the Oilers welcome in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Edmonton beating Toronto in Toronto earlier this season, looking for the series sweep this year. Let's get to starting lineups, and then we'll get into game changers with Belle for the Oilers tonight. McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Kapanen, and we're expecting Szymanski with Savoy and Roslovic, Trent Frederick or Matthias Janmark with Andrew Mangiapane. We'll figure out if it's Frederick or Janmark at center. Unless they change things, we will let you know via warm-up. And then on defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Wallman, Stasny with Emerson, Alec Regula, Curtis Lazar are your healthy scratches for the Leafs. Here's how they skated last night in that win against Calgary. Austin Matthews between Bobby McMahon and Max Domi. John Tavares with Matthias Michelli and William Nylander. Nicholas Waugh between Matthew Nyes and Nicholas Robertson. Scott Lawton between Steve Lorentz and Kelly Yarncroke. On defense, Jake McCabe with Brandon Carlo. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Troy Stetcher, the former Oiler. Simon Benoit with Philippe Myers. Your starting goalies for tonight: 28-year-old Connor Ingram, 6-3-1 this season, 255 goals against average, 901 save percentage, 1 shutout in 12 games this season. 0-1-0 is Ingram's record versus the Leaves lifetime. 3-0-9 GAA, 880 save percentage in that one appearance versus Toronto. And at the other end of the rink, another former Oiler, 32-year-old Anthony Stolars. He is 6-7-1 this year, 367 GAA, 876 save percentage in 15 games this season. Stolars versus the Oil lifetime 1-2 record, 334 GAA, 893 save percentage, 1 shutout in 4 games versus Edmonton. Let's get you to your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. For the Oilers, Adam Henrique, LTIR undisclosed. For Toronto, Morgan Riley, upper body. Chris Tanev, IR, groin. Dakota Joshua, IR, upper body. That is the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. Again, visit them at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call them 780-460-9977. Let's get the game changers with Belle, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, a consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Please check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Belle, numero uno, last home game before the Olympics.
It's something that, while in the back of your head, you sit there and you say, hey, we have this massive break. It's important to go out the right way. And right now for the Oilers, they're a team that's kind of, They win 1, they lose 2. They win 2, they lose 1. And they're a team that's floundering in the sense that they just can't get fully going. And you want to have a really good, last game before the Olympics so that, you feel good about yourself from a home perspective to say, hey, like, we're starting to get a little bit of traction here. But at the same time, we're also going to be going on this break because we got Calgary the next night. It's an 8:00 start in Calgary. It's hard back-to-back, and then you have a massive break. And the way that you have to go out in your last game, in my opinion, is you got to empty the tank and you've got to leave it all out there because you don't want the fans to sit back and have to question things for like 3 weeks before showing back up and playing again. So it is an important game. It's an important game in the sense that, you're still trying to gain a little bit more real estate in your division. You don't want teams to catch you. So that last game before Olympics at home, you got to make sure you capitalize on it because once again, we're sitting in another back-to-back scenario with Toronto playing last night, come in here, it's going to be electric crowd which is going to be one of my points after. It's going to be like a 50-50 split. It's like the traveling roadshow. So it's an important game. It is your last home game before the Olympics. Make sure that you're playing the right way and playing hard and, go out, not with a bang, but just going out the right way.
You want to bounce back after that Minnesota loss as well. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Shawn and Belle. Number one, last home game before the Olympics. Number two, who are they?
Who are they? Who are the Edmonton Oilers? We don't know. Who are the Toronto Maple Leafs? We don't know. Both of these teams are almost in similar situations where there's so many different things getting questioned from each team. Now, the one thing that's not getting questioned right now at the Oilers is we're not tearing it down to the studs. We know there's a bit of a reset. We're trying to figure out, or the team's trying to figure out what they have before moving into, obviously, the roster freeze, into the deadline. They're trying to figure that out, and they're trying to sort that out. But so are the Maple Leafs. And when you look at some of the numbers that happen to be for both teams, goals per game, 3.3 for the Leafs, 3.4 for the Oilers. Goals against per game, 3.4 against for the Toronto Maple Leafs and 3.3 for the Oilers. The one big discrepancy is you have the power play for the Oilers sitting at 31.2% versus 17.6% on the power play for the Leafs. And then the kill is at 83.6 for the Leafs and 78.7 for the Edmonton Oilers. So some of their numbers are very close. Their goals for, their goals against are very close. The amount that they actually score per game and how many goals they have overall are very close. And both of these teams, I find, are still trying to find their identity as they continue to push along in the season. And the one direction, like I mentioned earlier, is that the Oilers are still trying to figure out what they need to be able to contend. We have no idea what the Leafs are. The Leafs are one of those teams that they could sneak up on you. They had a nice stretch earlier in the year, and then since then, it's like the conversation is completely flipped to, do we just tear it down to the studs and have to rebuild?
I don't understand why teams, after having 1 year where they're struggling, need to tear everything down and rebuild. There are some that believe that and go, oh, time to rebuild. You didn't make the playoffs. Sometimes you get kicked and you don't need to rebuild. You don't need to tear it down to the studs. You know who did that really well a couple of years ago? The Vegas Golden Knights. Mm-hmm. They missed the playoffs and then they go and win the Stanley Cup. Like, sometimes the pieces are there. It's just maybe there's underlying injuries that isn't getting a lot of attention. Maybe there's issues that need to be resolved. One or two guys needs to be moved out, but tearing it down to the studs and coughing up the rest of the season, giving it away to try to get the number one overall pick. I know that's so drastic to me. It seems that I find that type of approach silly. So the Leafs have better talent than what they've shown, and I think they're a better team than what we've seen so far this year. That's just my opinion.
I couldn't agree with I couldn't agree with you more, Tom, because when you look at the Leafs, you got Austin Matthews, you got Nylander. Like, those guys are pretty dominant players when they're playing at their best.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? Well, Nylander's been out. You can't get a true assessment of what that team looks like when some of your best guys are out, when you're decimated by injury. So I agree with you, and that's why I brought this point up. Who are they? Well, we don't truly know what they are, because some of the players that are coming in, the bubble players at 13th, 14th forward that are now trying to gain minutes, well, are you playing the way that Brewery wants? Are you still trying to play that super skilled game that you tried to do a couple years ago that just got you bounced out of the playoffs back-to-back years? Against the Bruins or against the Florida Panthers. And yes, I understand where it's like, well, guess what? We took them to 7. Sure. But at the end of the day, the Florida Panthers still beat you. And so you have elements of a really good hockey team. Yes, you have injuries. But who are you? Because there is that next man up mentality that floats around sports. And if you can't rise to the occasion and you're some of those guys that are sitting in the lineup and you're in and you're out, well, you're not really adding much to the overall feel and look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's a concerning situation, but they've also got tons of injuries.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Point number 3 here on Game Changers with our game analyst, Shawn, Belle. Of course, Game Changers brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Point number 3, you kind of touched on it, but I want you to deep dive into it. Traveling circus.
I love these games when it comes to an original 6 team, Montreal, that I had the opportunity to play for, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they start traveling. Those teams travel historically well. Their fan bases are everywhere. And when you get to games like this against the Oilers, it is like electricity personified. I remember I was talking about this on the Reed Show earlier today. And I remember a few years ago, like there was dueling chants back and forth on each side, whether it's the Flame or the Oilers sucked or the Leafs sucked or whatever that looked like. It was electric, and it forces players. Like if you show up as a player and you're asleep and you feel that electricity in the crowd, you're instantaneously ready to go. And you're playing a little bit harder. So this traveling roadshow might actually be a really good thing for the Edmonton Oilers because, hey, sometimes they get a little bit sleepy and you need to have games where it pulls you out of it. It is your last home game, and it's going to be a special one because Toronto Maple Leafs are in town. It's Connor's hometown. You know there's a little bit more to that game. You know that the media in Toronto pours a little bit of salt every single time the Oilers don't win a Stanley Cup or something goes sideways. There's just a lot to it. So this traveling roadshow called the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm looking forward to that game because they're going to bring some spice and they're going to bring some electricity. So it should be a good one.
Are you telling me you're throwing elbows up in the press box tonight? There it is. Oh, yes. Good stuff, Belzy. I know you're a hungry boy, so go get yourself fueled up for tonight's game and then the post-game show. Great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up to you in a few minutes.
Sounds good. I'll get the mic working next time.
No, you better. Oh, you better. I'm just kidding. There you go. There's Shawn Belle, our game analyst with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Ryan Leslie's coming up shortly. Let's get your game day odds check in, brought to you by Play Alberta. When you play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta, safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Your money line for tonight, the Oilers at minus 182, the Maple Leafs at plus 155 over at Play Alberta. Over under set at 6.5. That over is at minus 164. Oh, pardon me, 164. The under at plus 125. There's also I took Jay up on his play of the day over at Play Alberta. And for those that are wondering about it, I will get it for you right now. Jay's play of the day has to do with another guy from Toronto, former Maple Leaf, and that would be Zach Hyman, 1 power play point. And then Oilers versus Leafs taking the over on the 6.5 goals. That's at plus 348. He got it boosted. So Leafs and Oilers to go over 6.5 goals. Hyman with the power play point boosted to plus 348. That is Jay's play of the day. I'm riding with Jay tonight. I put a little sprinkle on there. I also am riding with the boys on the Lock Shop with their Waste Management Phoenix Open bet. They have Nick Taylor to finish top 10. That's boosted to plus 562. And then there's just like a million Super Bowl prop bets that we've got going on that's dotting our EST specials page over on Play Alberta. So go check that out. Of course, use your game sense when you're betting. Big thank you to Play Alberta, presenting sponsor of our entire station here at EST. All right, you can text us 780-218-9999. If you're watching on YouTube, hop into the nasty chat. I am so pleased to welcome this guy back to the program. He was in Calgary for the longest time, doing great work on the Flames broadcast. You saw him there for at least, 15 years, and now he made the move to Toronto covering the Leafs. It is Ryan Leslie, Leafs reporter extraordinaire and good friend. Ryan, good to have you back in the province. Just give us a sense of what it's like being a part of Leafs media as opposed to what we would get here in Alberta and specifically in Calgary.
Tom Gazzola, great to be with you. How you been?
I've been good. It was nice to see you this morning.
Yeah, that was a special treat. And thanks for having me. Always awesome to see you and And tonight we get to talk a little puck. It has been wild to be in Toronto and to kind of see the madness up close and personal. Obviously, it hasn't been the season that the team expected. Still a lot of time, but there's a big hole. So to see the inner workings of it is one thing. To see how, the media in that market go about it is also another dynamic, as everybody knows. But to see it up close and personal, it's been pretty wild. But great to be back in Alberta. It was special to be in Calgary for a couple of days, and awesome to be up here. I haven't been up here. I don't think, I could be wrong. My memory's awful, but I still have PTSD from doing games up here during COVID when we were in the bubble. That was a tough run, but I'm sure I've been up, but I'm still scarred. So this is much better circumstances, and it is great to be up here. I'm looking forward to this one. This thing could go sideways 6 different ways, so I can't wait to dig in.
I had forgotten when you and we skipped the last game of the night, and we were going to go have a beer and a bite somewhere, and we were walking, and boy, oh boy, did we ever get a show that is not fit for air. I think some guy
dropped trowel.
Oh, you went there.
I'm putting it lightly, because are we on the internet? I don't know where we're, but
we're everywhere, baby.
Yeah, talk about going sideways. That happened to me twice during my stint up here, just walking along, and some individual thought it would be a good idea to just drop trowel and do what one does. It was just bizarre, but maybe that's where the scarring came from, Tom.
Yes, understandably.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're back. That doesn't happen, I hope, as much as we witnessed. And I hope people are more civil on our main arteries and roads in our city. So, okay, let's talk about your trip back to Calgary. It was a good one for the Leafs. They pick up a win. They've got 2 road games that they've won in a row here. So what are they doing right? Like, what was the key to last night's win in Calgary?
Well, you got the early lead, which, really helps, because then all of a sudden you get all those blue jerseys going. Willie Nylander strikes early. And then there was a bit of a dip. I didn't think it was, and in Vancouver was, there was some things you liked, but there was some things you didn't like. But they just, in Calgary kind of stayed with it. Troy Stetcher, I know we're going to get to him, I'm sure, but what an addition he's been. He was a monster at times last night. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, a better guy, as Oiler fans know. And, they got a couple of key saves from Joseph Walls. So, full marks to Calgary, a lot of character in that room, and just, they don't go away. So it was fun to watch. I knew Calgary would give them a handful, and you just kind of wonder, about every team right now. A couple of games left now tonight for Toronto, the last game before the break. What are you going to get? As some might be easing up a little bit to avoid injury, or some may be flooring it and emptying the tank. You just don't know. So there's so many factors, but it's great to be out in Western Canada and see, Leaf fans representing, because they've made these rinks so raucous, and obviously Leaf fans who live out west get a chance to really go nuts out here, and it's awesome because it's made the buildings fun, and I think the players feel it. But last night, Calgary, I think it was just a matter for Toronto against Calgary, just kind of staying with it, getting a couple of key saves. Some guys stepped up, and they had to without the services of Morgan Riley. So it'll be the same lineup tonight, save for the goalie, who will be Anthony Stolarz. So, hey, 2 games for Toronto. They'd love to go into the break with 3. It's wild, right? They went, didn't have a loss in regulation in 10 games. I think they picked up a couple of points. Now you have a terrible homestand, and you're, as far down as you are. So it's been tough sledding, but great to be out west.
Ryan Leslie joining us, Leafs reporter, as we get you set for Edmonton and Toronto tonight. Okay, you touched on Troy Stetcher, and listen, he was appreciated here in Edmonton, and there were people, fans, and guys in the room that were disappointed and sad that he ended up being picked up by the Leafs. So, from what he has done in Toronto, how would you describe his time as a Maple Leaf, and what has he brought to the table so far?
It's been a seamless fit, Tom. Like, I was around him in Calgary for, I think he was like 17, 20 games, something like that. And I just had such an appreciation for him. You guys in this city and around this organization had a true understanding of his value, and a couple of deep runs with him, and character. And it's been a seamless fit, as I mentioned. He's just come in, and it's not an easy market to just jump into. He's fit in perfectly. He's been able to not only fit in that market in terms of handle himself with the bright lights on the ice and the media off the ice, but with his teammates, most importantly. It's one thing to be able to walk into that room and kind of be able to, be yourself and be confident and not defer to others. He has been such a pro, so appreciated, from his communication on the ice to the way he just never takes his foot off the gas. I could be describing him at any one of his stops, right? That's what you get everywhere he goes. And you've seen it firsthand. And you've been around him. And I think Oiler fans have a deep appreciation for him. And it's mutual. I spoke with him this morning, just did a little chat one-on-one on the bench. And it was cool for him. Last night he had a chance to go to his house and sleep in his own bed. And we got in late from Calgary, and he went there. And so a little bit of normalcy for him. And he was back at the rink this morning, and I know he's looking forward to this one. It was different for him when the Oilers came to Toronto, and now it's one of those things where he can't wait to get going. So I don't anticipate anything will change in his game. He's pretty consistent, as we all know. So pretty great to see, and you're happy for guys like that.
Yeah. I'm not surprised to hear that, Ryan, honestly, because he's the guy that when he did get into the lineup, you got everything from him, like you mentioned. So
yeah,
good to see the success. Yeah. All
I
right.
love it. And, he gives you everything you want as a media guy too, right? Like,
true.
It's one thing to be good on the ice, but he's also great to chat with. So it works.
And I know you appreciate this too. Good suits as well. He's got some style and panache.
The man, well said. He's well dressed and looks the part, and he's turning heads everywhere in Toronto. So you tip your cap.
Yes, you do. All right. When the Leafs are firing on all cylinders, what is the key to their success? And then when they struggle, what's their downfall?
Well, I think it might be the same, actually. If their defense and goaltending aren't there, it's like so many other teams, Not every team is as blessed as, say, the Oilers with to have the same amount of weapons and the same amount of offense. But Toronto can score their way out of a lot of problems, that's for sure. But they certainly need their defense. And they've been so depleted without the services of Chris Tanev and tonight Morgan Riley and so many others in and out of the lineup. But they're almost used to it, and that's kind of scary to say. But they do have their offense. That isn't really a concern. And I certainly at the risk of jinxing it, but traditionally this season and the last number of seasons, their offense has been their calling card. But, their defense has taken some shots physically, and it's tough. So if they're going to have success like they did, I thought they did a really good job of really rallying around. You saw Jake McCabe have a really solid game last night in Calgary, a veteran who's a proud player, who's a hard player to play against. I mentioned Troy Stetcher. So there's some guys that are, not as experienced as those guys into their lineup, the bottom half of it. But that's the key. And you still keep an eye on what Stolarz is going to give you, given that he's only been back for a little while from his injury. So all eyes on Stolarz tonight between the pipes. What does he give you? Joseph Woll's had a lot of work of late, but he's handled it pretty well. So now we'll look at the blue line. Who eats a lot of the minutes? How do they kind of play in that system? How do the forwards help them without Morgan Riley back there? But, I still think if you get Willie Nylander playing like he did last night, you understand just how dangerous he can be. They're going to need it because everybody listening and watching your show knows just how deadly Edmonton is. These Leaf players are aware their big guns need to be going. The captain, Austin Matthews, has been really good. Nylander, who's come back from injury himself, has found his game. in the short time he's been back. Obviously, the Olympics are looming. He'll be one of Sweden's better players. So they're going to need their big guns. You wonder about Bobby McMahon, Wainwright, Alberta, Matthew Nyes. What does he have here in the final game before the break? Because the big boys, John Tavares as well, they can go. And it's not like these guys won't be up for this game. So I just can't wait to see. I don't know if you can match the firepower, so it's going to get down to the intangible. Special teams are going to have to be just that, because Toronto has not been getting many calls. They have not been on the power play very often of late. I know that's a sore spot. It seems to be a trend. I'll leave it right there. And if those guys can, try and get on that power play and take advantage of the extra man, we'll see. But there's a lot of cool storylines. There's a lot to like about this matchup tonight. Again, I pray for chaos. I just will wait to see what happens.
I'm right there with you. Bring on the chaos. I love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I love the energy when Leafs fans get in there and Oilers fans get at them. And we're going to see a lot of orange and blue, a lot of blue and white. It's going to be great. This was awesome too, Ryan. Thanks for the time, and welcome back to Alberta. And I'll see you at the rink in a little bit.
Hey, man, anytime. Let's keep in touch. Best of luck with it. We'll chat soon.
I love it. There you go. There's Ryan Leslie, Leafs reporter, joining us here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Big thank you to him. He is great. You got to see him for many years over on Sportsnet doing Flames games, and good to have him back on the show and giving us the scoop on the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, 780-218-9999. We have a few minutes left to go here. Let's get Benny back on here. Benny, what'd you think of what Ryan had to say about the Maple Leafs and how they stack up against the Oilers tonight?
Yeah, for one, yes, I am also praying for chaos tonight. I find it pretty interesting what the guys that are going to Olympics, where their effort, sits at for tonight. Me personally, when I look at McDavid, I am fully expecting McDavid to go 100% tonight, personally, because to me, I think he said it in a post game or something, some press, recently, where it's like he finds himself, last year with the Four Nations, how he wanted to ramp up for Four Nations, and some guys are obviously thinking vacation. We're so close to getting there, and so the kind of duality between, from each guy in the room, right? Because some guys are going into a tournament they've dreamed of playing, their entire lives, and the others are planning their trip to Barbados, right? Like it is complete. It's two different situations, right? So for McDavid, in this case, to me, I think he wants to get ready for the Olympics. I think he's thinking, okay, if I can we have a back-to-back, tonight and tomorrow. If I can be playing at the top of my game, I can have two really good games going into the break. I like, my confidence and my feeling going into, obviously, the Olympics playing for Team Canada. So I'd expect a high-intensity game for McDavid. We'll see if other players that are looking to that are playing in the Olympics feel the same way and play the same way. I'm curious, but I think the way Connor's wired, I'd expect him to be playing at 100% tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people very excited about what he had to say in that article in the Players Tribune. I asked him, like, what do you want Oilers fans to take out of what you said? And I think, he subdued as always. I think it was his longest answer of the presser. He just said, I want to know that we're committed to winning here. And we'll see where things go. Listen, a lot of hockey needs to be played before his next contract is negotiated, and we'll see where things go. But I think, a lot of encouraging words for Oilers fans, or at least they're interpreted that way by Oil Country. And I understand why. I mean, if you don't think what he said wasn't deliberate, then you don't know Connor. So we'll see where it goes. But I'm with you, Benny. I think he's one of those guys that gets ramped up and he wants to build his game up to the Olympics, because that's how crazy he is when it comes to his wiring for hockey and his level of competition, if you will. So let's see what he does. All right. We'll get to some text, 780-218-9999. Hop into the Nasty Chat. Nasty Chat's been going pretty good. Lots of people watching. We appreciate that. Hopefully you like, share, and subscribe. Benny, we're on the march to 14,000. I think I was talking to Dusty yesterday in studio, and I think from 13,600 to 13,900 subscribers has actually gone a lot quicker, a better pace than then getting to 13,000 to 13,600. That's good to see, and we're seeing a lot more people watching live. Our listenership numbers are very strong, which is always great. But the subscriptions are important, and we thank you for doing that. And if you haven't yet, please do. We appreciate it. We want to share our station with everybody.
We're also almost at 5,000 followers on Instagram, 4,970. We're 30 away. So if you are on Instagram, aren't following us, go do it. Edmonton Sports Talk. Been posting some clips there. And if you're missing some of the shows throughout the day, we hope to inform you with some of the clips that we post there and catch you up on what's been going on here at EST.
Yeah, Benny's been doing great with our social media stuff. Was at a skate today, and some of the guys, some former Golden Bears, were skating with us, and they're saying, I see you guys' clips. Like, I see the clips popping up on my feed. I'm like, that's Benny Thomson. Good stuff. And so that's a good way to get out there and get the word out that we have a great station. And for those that have been riding with us for a couple of years, you know how fun this is. And so we appreciate it. Everybody that's been with us for a bit since the downfall of 1260, to those that are new, welcome. We like to have fun. We like to keep you informed, and we think we have a good thing. So let's keep spreading the good word. All right, Benny, we got a few minutes left. What do you say we go to a few texts here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I got one from Uncle Jesse. Says, I went to the game in Calgary last night. It was not electric. Toronto played down to Calgary's level. I barely saw Matthews. I wonder how much of that, too, is where the Flames are at.
That was my first thought, too.
Yeah. It generally gets rowdy here. I know it has the potential to get rowdy down in Calgary whenever the Habs and the Leafs roll through. But here with the Leafs, it generally does get rowdy. The Hyman factor, the McDavid factor, Nurse, a lot of Toronto guys that play for the Oilers, and that kind of gets them juiced up. Bouchard as well. I mean, I don't know how amped up he gets because, as we like to joke, he's probably in the corner having a Werther's original and just waiting for his next shift. But
walk around the mall.
Whoever came up with that walk around the mall thing,
think about that all the time.
I laugh so much every time I think about it. Knobloch's going to reward him with a nice mall walk tomorrow if he plays well tonight. So I thought that was hilarious. But they need him to be good. They need the offense from Bouchard, obviously, tonight. But defensively, I think is going to be a key, Benny.
Yeah.
We need to see them tighten it up. I mean, how much did they talk about tightening up the D? All last week, even we could go back a week and a half, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen in any of those games last week.
Yeah.
It
hasn't been good since that stretch where they played. What was it? Islanders, St. Louis, and then the Devils came into town.
Yep.
And they allowed 2 goals.
Pittsburgh, boom, fell off.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's when everything exploded. Yeah, I'd really like to see that tighten up. At the same time, I think it was. Craig Button was on the morning show this morning going, well, I think it's not a fact of, they don't care to play defense. I think they do. It's just, do they have the personnel? And
that's a good point.
I think I'm with Craig there. I think they need an upgrade. If not 1, 2 on the back end. And if they can, I think they'll help a lot. But right now there's, goaltending. Yeah, a couple goals maybe you'd want back if you're Jari or Ingram.
Sure.
But the defense has laid them out to dry in more occasions than just one. So, I'd like to see them tighten that up as well.
I'll say that it is. I appreciate those who said it was strictly the goaltending, and that was the only issue that have kind of been like, all right, this team doesn't defend well. Yeah. And it's like, yeah. So, and I'll add this, like Stu Skinner was ready for a change. Tristan Jarry was ready for a change. And sometimes that enables a guy to start playing better. And we're seeing it with Stu down in Pittsburgh. It's been a little touch and go with Jarry here in Edmonton, but I bet he feels better with the fresh start. And then you got Ingram, who's, I kind of described him as a bit of a people's champ so far.
Yeah.
You love the story. I like to see the battle. He's been steady and solid. I'm with Reed when Reed says that he's been Edmonton's best goalie this year. I think that's fair.
For sure.
And listen, getting a few extra saves has helped. And it's too bad for Calvin Pickard, being waived, clearing waivers. And we'll see how that story unfolds. But yeah, It's interesting. The evolution of the team continues as it tries to pursue a Stanley Cup.
And I think for fans, if I had to guess, I think they're more, if the playoffs start tomorrow, I think they're more confident in the Oilers goaltending right now than what they had last year going into it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
I think Oilers, or at least fans, are trusting Ingram and Jari much more than what they had in Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, we're going to end it with this text from Nolan from St. Albert. We'll get some quick thoughts. Says, no clue how Janmark hasn't been scratched yet, especially with how bad the PK has been. Lazar has been more effective. I feel bad for him. Yeah, it was Lazar's birthday the other day. I think it was yesterday. And he gets the healthy scratch, a couple of ozone penalties recently. The PK for the Oilers climbed as high as, I think, 10th a week and a half ago. It's fallen to 19th, a couple of bad games. And Janmark, as much as we joke how much he's my boy, and I appreciate the little things he does. And yes, some of that is in jest. You don't get any offense out of him, and you appreciate him being a dog all over the ice, but you need something offensively, and there's nothing there. So it's tough. And Mangiapane getting back in, Benny, how do you interpret that?
I think they're trying to keep him on his feet and skating to make sure he can still play hockey and auditioning him. Personally, that's to me. I think they have made their mind that he is not a long-term piece for this team. And when I mean long-term, I mean the end of the season, like a playoff guy. I don't think they look at him as that. Like we've been saying, he's been in trade talks. And I'd imagine if they're going to make a deal at the deadline, they're going to want to move that money off. So I think they're just simply trying to get him reps and make sure he's still playing.
We'll see how he does tonight. Andrew Mangiapane back in. Connor Ingram between the pipes. Curtis Lazar comes out. It's the Oilers and the Maple Leafs closing out the series for the season. Edmonton winning back in Toronto earlier this year. That was back on December 13th, the 6-3 victory. They'll look to repeat that tonight. If you want to ride with Jay's play of the day like I did, I put a little sprinkle down. Of course, use your game sense over at Play Alberta. And if you're betting anywhere, to be honest, I put a little sprinkle down. It's Oilers and Leafs combined over 6.5 goals. And then a power play point from former Leaf and excellent Oiler, Zach Hyman. So feel free to take a look over at Play Alberta. Check out the EST specials. We've got a ton out there populating that list and that page. It's been excellent. Huge thank you to Ryan Leslie, Leafs reporter, for hopping on, giving us the scoop on Toronto. And for Belzy and Benny, I'm Tommy saying enjoy the Oilers and Maple Leafs. We'll see you on the postgame show. Ciao for now.